Welcome to the Coffee Snobs podcast, where we just really love good coffee.
So grab your cup of coffee and join us each episode as we explore any and everything coffee related.
From pour-overs to lattes to the coffee experience, we explore it all because life's too short to drink bad coffee. Here we go.
So welcome to this episode of the Coffee Snobs podcast. This is the pour over. Yes, this is a bonus episode, and today is really exciting because we are at Shiloh's, the grand opening coffee. My good friend Joe Strothman is here on it. Joe,
listen,
welcome.
I just want to say for my first time ever being on this podcast,
Yeah.
you know, you are so awesome to let me be on a bonus episode. You know how to build somebody up,
Well,
pump somebody up by
listen.
saying, hey, listen, we are having a bonus episode. So that means that I am a bonus guest.
Dude, you are a bonus guest. This is the
Man.
pour over. It's the overflow.
It's the overflow.
It is
out of the abundance
Dude.
of podcasts that I am here.
It really is.
That's
and
so good.
Me and Joe go way back, like many moons.
Yeah. All the time.
I think,
Probably pushing 14 years.
yeah.
I mean, Karen and I's wedding anniversary is 12 is coming up in August, and
Yeah.
I've known you about a year and a half before I met my
Before
wife.
that, yeah. So
Yeah.
long time. And one of the reasons why he's on this is our relationship was really strengthened through Saturday mornings at.
Santa Claus at the Preston store.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, you talk about our relationship. I'm so glad that we, you know, I loved coffee before, like, I met you, and, like, you weren't really drinking coffee, and that our relationship wasn't formed over slushies from
Right.
Sonics.
Right.
But that was during work hours. We did do that. When you were at work, I would come from my job to
Yeah.
your job and bring you slushies, but then that's not sustainable.
Nah,
So,
nah.
sugar's bad for you, especially as you get older, guys. Don't drink that.
don't do it.
But yeah, but like coming in Saturday mornings, man, when we were started hanging out, becoming friends, like actually, you know, my love of coffee and just understanding that like a good cup of coffee and some time
Yeah.
is good for my soul.
Yeah.
And so like having time to spend with friends, you know, just slowing down and,
Yep.
and enjoying a cup of coffee is great. And so, you know, we did that many years ago
Dude,
with a lot of friends.
A
and,
lot.
And,
I mean, it was every Saturday morning for multiple hours. I mean, my wife would be texting me, "Hey, are you coming home?" I'm like, "Oh, it's lunchtime now." Like,
we got here at 8 and it's 1
yeah,
or whatever.
That's how it was. And
So
so
there's rare occasions that our coffee went from like 2 hours to, hey, let's go drive around for 3 hours.
oh, dude, and we did. So like,
Yeah.
so you know, coffee was our foundation.
Sure.
You know, in the first episode, I talk about Sundergrass and my journey. So you all kind of know my coffee journey. But we're here at the grand opening of Shiloh's. So we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about Shiloh's. We're going to be talking about, you know, your coffee journey and how it's kind of led you to this, because the Shiloh's is a very special. This is a very special place for me.
Absolutely,
One,
man.
this is a vision of the owner, which is very close to me, and just to see two worlds come together. One, coffee. Two, the coffee that is being served here is super special to me, and then you know you being a part of it is just like it's the cherry
It's
on
the
top.
overflow.
Exactly.
It's
So
the theme.
so let's like. We ask people, first off, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Spitfire, quick answers.
Okay.
Walk into a coffee shop, what's going to be the coffee that you get?
Cool. So like my current drink right now, it's a love affair. It's
Okay.
a passionate love affair right now. You know, a good friend of mine, John, he turned me on to the Cortada.
Cortada.
And I'm not a big milk drinker.
Yep.
Like my wife has milk allergies and stuff, so
Yep.
we don't really have milk in our house, and I'm really into it. And so, but man, I was out with John in Cincinnati at a
Yep.
great coffee shop, Carabello Coffee. And he was like, hey, I was like, what is that, man? And he's like, hey, this is called a Cortada. And I'm like, what's a Cortada? He's like, it's half and half. 2 shots espresso, 2 shots steamed milk.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, I can get down with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't have one that day. I went back to Sundergrass and I was like, hey, this isn't on your menu. And they're like, you know, when you say it to a barista, they're like, oh yeah, somebody's going to flex. And she perked up and I'm like, what's a Cortada? And she's like, you in? I'm like, oh, I'm bought in. Let's go. And so they made me this Cortada, and it, you know, it's springtime here in Louisville. It's almost summertime, so it's starting to warm up. So I was like, let me get an iced Americano, single origin as well. You know, and at Sundergrass, they're constantly rotating their single origins.
Yep.
So like, they have an Ethiopian and a Guatemalan that are both phenomenal single origins, and I love them iced.
Yep.
So my current drink is, and I mean, there have been days when this is 3 times in one day, is a cortada with a 24-ounce iced Americano.
You know what? I think you should be you could be a coffee influencer, because the amount of coffee, I mean, Sundergross, if you're listening, Joe is a phenomenal candidate of influencer. I mean, because the amount of coffee that you have drank, you have spent there. I mean, how many of those cards? How many of those cards have you filled?
The one I have right now has. I mean, they
have a loyalty card.
There is a video element to this this recording here.
So he has a loyalty card that they mark.
I'll just kind of show the camera here.
And
yeah, like this is drip and whole bean.
Drip and whole bean.
And espresso. The front is all espresso.
And I mean, it's crazy.
I don't know, 50 of these probably in 10 years.
So like
every one of those marks is a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So Joe goes there often, like
weekly, daily,
a lot. And so
let me put it this way: I remember when we were shopping for our third home. We were down the street from the Woodlawn location.
Hold on. This story is really going to tell you what level of coffee connoisseur he is.
So in Louisville, currently there are 4 locations of Sundergross. There's a 5th Street, which is downtown Louisville. It's only open during office hours.
Yep.
It's very much French style. No seats. They recently put seats in outside the foyer of the building they're in, but like when you walk in, it's just bar top. So like it's to go. You're walking out. There's the Preston, the original location, which is in a neighborhood called St. Joe's neighborhood. Yep. And there's the Norse Place, which is in Parristown, Snitzelberg area here in Louisville. And it's more next to a college. It's an old gas station. So, like, they have garage doors.
Beautiful facility.
Super awesome. The bar is phenomenal. Like, I'm super jealous of the bar height. I'm like, I love the way that looks.
Yeah.
Like, that in my head, I'm thinking that's what I would have.
Yeah.
And then the then the Woodlawn location, which is 2.5 blocks. 7-minute walk, 3.5-minute bike ride. I can run it in like 4 minutes if I had to. I've done all of those. But when we were house shopping, like we definitely were like, we don't want to be too far away from a location.
Bro.
And I mean, I love it. I love going there.
See, Sundergross, that's why you need to sponsor Joe. I'm telling you, like, oh man.
I know when I walk into Woodlawn, I'm like, I know most of the baristas by name and quite a few of the regulars.
Yeah.
Like you get the, what's up?
Yeah.
Like I know you.
And so, Joe, you also make coffee at home.
Yes. Yep. Definitely a home person.
But that has also, I mean, that's really what, for us here at the Coffee Snobs, we all consider ourselves home baristas, right? Like we have a level, but I think the boutique coffee shops, the people that care, they roast their own, that's where we're going to, because we just love, like, we know that they care so much. So it's not, it's not about us, establishing a coffee routine at home where we don't, support local shops.
Sure.
Like, you have literally embraced both of those.
I mean, I think for me, this is so great. Like, coffee for me at home is it serves 2 functions. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's the obvious. There's the caffeine fix. I'm waking up in the mornings. I give some coffee to my kids. We can get into that in a minute if people want to talk about that. Mm-hmm. And then also, like, there's also like that. This is time for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go take 45 minutes and go sit down in a coffee shop and either read a book, have a meeting with somebody. Like, there's nothing about like having a warm cup of coffee across the table from somebody. Like, we need to have a heart-to-heart conversation.
Yeah.
And then also, like, being at home, we recently bought a home espresso machine. Yep. It's nothing fancy. It's just a DeLong from Target.
It gets the job done.
I ain't got $1,000 for a Breville, but one day. But we're easing into it.
Okay,
I got to talk to the wife.
Listen. It's a great sponsor right here, Breville. It's time for you to get on.
Get on board.
Yeah,
Strothman.
Right. What's the Instagram handle they can get you at?
Joe Strothman, STROTHMAN. It's all one word, no spaces. We'll
slide
put
into
links in the show notes.
Yeah,
you can get at me at a DM, and we'll definitely
do a review.
I'll definitely do a review.
Dude,
definitely
I love it.
But getting back to at homebrew, not only for myself, but man, you want to talk about like I love people. I'm a people person.
Yeah, you
and
are.
I think as much as I enjoy cooking, I enjoy making a pot of coffee.
Yep.
I have a group of guys come to my house every Monday night. I make coffee. There's 7 of us. We go through 3 pots of coffee in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We're drinking good coffee. But then also, like, my wife will have friends over, and we'll make cappuccinos, we'll make espressos, we'll make cafe con leches, and we'll sit at my dinner table and do a couple rounds of drinks and talk, just catch up. You know, not necessarily talk about the coffee, but that is like, hey, you want to come over and hang out? No. Hey, you want to come over and have a cup of coffee?
Right.
Yeah,
Easy,
I'm into that.
Conversational
and
piece,
that really brings in as part of it. So
yeah, so that kind of that kind of tells you the gentleman that we have on today's episode. I mean, like this guy really does care about coffee. A lot of it is the connection that coffee brings, the platform, and so if you're a outgoing person, definitely an extrovert or even an introvert, coffee is a great way to
absolutely. I mean, if you have a cup of coffee in front of you, you can. It allows you to. Man, let me think about that for a second. And you take that break.
Yeah, dude.
And also too, like there's something like literally like it changes your mindset.
Yep.
Like the chemicals that are in coffee are gonna like speed you up a little bit. Yep. Maybe make you think your thought process go a little bit more. Your synapses are firing.
Yep.
And like you can brainstorm a little bit.
This is why this podcast may be ridiculously fast. This is cup number 5 and 4 for him.
Yeah, solid.
We're jacked. Like, I mean, like seriously, like I've had just drip. Like it's almost like an IV right
drip.
now. Seriously,
legit drip,
dude. It is. So
Aaron is coming in dripping, y'all.
Dude,
He's coming in dripping.
I am. So we're here at Shiloh's.
We're currently upstairs in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, at Shiloh's. This is 2,200 square foot of facility, brand new. This building has been empty for years and years.
Yeah.
We took possession like 6-7 months ago. Yeah. It is brand new, rooter to tutor.
For our listeners, it kind of give me from concept of Shiloh's to what the mission is, because I think that's why it's on. That's why we decided to come here and to record here, because I think it's more than just delivering great coffee.
Yeah.
But there's a mission and vision to get behind it. So. Foundation.
Well, I mean, just to kind of give you like a little high level, like Shiloh's Coffee, Shiloh's Coffee House is owned by Hope City Church, which I'm a part of. Yep. I'm one of the pastors there, and it is just part of the mission and vision of the church to reach people. And one way that we can reach people is through different expressions, not just church facilities, but also extensions of that in the community. Yeah. And so, church buildings are usually empty more than they're full. Right. 80% of the time they're closed or there's nothing going on. But this being a for-profit business has a place where people can meet and gather. You hear people right now, like we're here recording it, and it's open and people are having conversations, they're meeting. But it just gives an opportunity for people to gather in the community and say, oh, what is this place? And then as they come and visit, like when you come in to visit Shiloh's, you're not going to see church branding everywhere. Right. You're not going to see anything. You might hear or figure out that it's church-owned, but that's not the point.
I mean, you're not even playing like what you would consider like Christian music. I mean, like it literally feels like
it's just a regular run-of-the-mill coffee shop
mm-hmm.
experience. It's not super churchy. Yeah. Like there's not ichthuses all over the wall. Right. Like it's not none of that. But what you will notice is the staff that works here, the care and the excellence behind it will speak to something greater. Yeah. And speaking of that, something greater is all the profit that goes to this, that comes from Shiloh's, is going to go fund orphanages and missions around the world.
And that's a big thing for the church that is supported this, that started this. They're really big on missions and giving back. And and that, from what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's really the drive behind this, is to help orphanages and missionaries.
I was, when we were talking before, and I was thinking about this, one great way to explain Shiloh's philosophy is that Shiloh's was founded as generosity as one of the core values of the business. So the great way to explain it, the most popular, well-known is Tom's Shoes. Remember when the guy founded Tom's?
Yep.
You know, he got $40,000 off of a game show, and he's like, hey, I want to buy poor kids from around the world shoes. Well, if he spent $40,000 on shoes, he'd probably buy 4,000 pairs of shoes.
Right.
Well, he took that $40,000, developed a business that is generosity-minded, and has given away 500 million shoes.
Wow.
There's a great podcast on Fresh Life Church on their website with the founder of Tom's, and he walks through it. It's an amazing listen. It's inspiring, and there's a lot of business that copycatted that. And like, oh, we'll give one, buy one, give one.
Right.
But they're doing it for profitability.
Right.
Where like us, and I think generally with Tom's, generosity is who they are.
Right.
And they didn't do it for a marketing ploy. And that's the same thing we here at Shiloh is like generosity. This is why we're doing that. So the initial gift that was given that funded this, it would have done a great thing.
Yeah.
It would have made a huge impact. But we're playing the long game with this investment that we believe that over time, this will fund multiple orphanages. And so this will be able to sustain missionaries for years and years, not just maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
And so that is really the mission behind Shiloh's, is to be able to have a sustainable business that all the profitability is going to be able to sustain missions and orphanages around the world.
Dude, that's really one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this here, because I really think that like the mission and vision behind it is one of the things that is on the wall, I think, is hope in every cup. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it really is, the price point is not higher, so they're not gouging you saying, hey, there's hope in the cup. It's just like, hey, the margins that we're making, we're giving away.
Right. That's right.
We're paying our staff, but we're literally invested in orphanages and missionaries and doing greater with coffee.
Right.
And so, man, I love it. Like today has been a big deal. I flew in last night from Charlotte, got in at 1 a.m., was here at 7 a.m., 7:30 for the opening, and, really love what it is. So check it out. Shiloh's will have the Instagram handle where you can find it out. They have a website, and that way you can purchase online. You can purchase shirts, coffee mugs, and actual coffee.
Yeah, they're going to have coffee beans, shirts, cups, mugs.
Which transitions
tumblers.
us to the next thing, which
Come
is
on.
like the blend. Like it is one of my favorite things is the way that Shiloh's was set up. You have been able to see under the hood.
Ground floor, everything, just being part of the church and with my position and stuff. Been in part of like the dream, like the literal dreaming part of this business. Like, God, I really think God's leading us to do this. Hey, we've got this opportunity. It might be crazy. And you're like, no, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And so
you are a massive Snobs fan. Like a big fanboy.
I'm in.
If I'm not mistaken, Snobs did a turnkey solution for Shiloh.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they were such a great people to work with. Like, and just talking back to my neighborhood, like where I live and not too far from the store, one of their stores, like where I live at is right next to their roastery as well. Well, in our neighborhood are people that work there. And so like, not only do I have this relationship with the guys because they work at the local coffee shop, but like, I play soccer next to one of the guys' houses at our neighbor community center, and like one of their wholesale reps lives down the block from me.
Yeah.
And so when this came on, I mean, I got on my phone. I don't know if I was supposed to or not, but I was like, hey guys, FYI, like I'm on your team. Like I want you guys to be a part of this because, I went to like part of it. Like I went to the barista training at the Preston store. So I was there with with the wholesale rep that we used, with Chris, an amazing guy, also one of my neighbors.
Yeah.
And he tells us like not only how to be a barista, like how to work the milk, how to make the grind, how to do the beans, but told us the history of Snobs. And he told us like actually what Snobs means.
Yeah.
It's a Greek word that means co-laborer. Talked about the two guys that founded the place, Matt and Brian, and how those two guys have two different, very different personalities. One guy's super artsy, one guy's super like analytical. And if you go into one of their stores, you get it.
Like,
the coffee
understand.
is perfect.
Yeah.
The store is quirky.
Yeah.
And you get like they're both their personalities.
Yep.
And so, like, we were able to go back there and see, like, oh, this is the way they believe. Well, man, who better to partner with than somebody who has a philosophy of co-laboring?
Right.
Like, they want to sell us beans. They want us to sell them.
Right.
And so, like, the training they've had, I mean, everything from, like, this is the kind of water filtration system you need. Like, they had a guy come in, like, scan our building, 3D layout, everything. Like, your bar should be this tall. It should be here. Now, there were some design design things that were, like, different aesthetics where people made some changes, but they were super cool with that, too.
Yep.
They're not like, oh, you're not doing it our way? We're out. No, they were very flexible.
Yeah.
You know, they suggest some equipment you buy. You don't have to buy everything from them, but go price it. And
Right.
you're like, why wouldn't I buy it from them?
Exactly.
And actually, I have other friends that work at other places, and, you know, I reached out to them, and I was like, never mind. Let's just stick with this one source because it didn't make sense.
Yeah, and one of the things that was over the top was today, 2 Sunnergrass employees.
Gosh, such a great support, man.
Seriously. I mean, they show up, and they're back there making sure that the baristas are comfortable. I mean, today is the launch. I mean, like 7 a.m., open the doors. You're now making coffee, like turning it out because the amount of attendance is extremely high today.
Yeah, we're recording on Saturday, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't open up Tuesday at noon.
No.
Like, no soft opening. Like,
No,
it was line out the door. People are here. They're coming, like, full rush. And like you said, the guys that came from Sunnergrass were great. Come back, you know, supported us.
I cannot wait to unpackage the information that they unloaded on me. Because, I'm sitting at where the merchandise is downstairs, and just my face was melting by the amount of information and data. And very excited because they both agreed to be on the podcast. Like, I mean, they were so helpful. And that's what we found with the coffee community. There's some that are greater than others. Sunnergrass, from what I have seen and from what y'all have told me, has just been over the top. Like, over the top. So Shiloh's is using Sunnergrass coffee. You can purchase Sunnergrass coffee through Shiloh's.
Hey, listen, if you love the thought of supporting missions and orphanages, but you love the quality of Sunnergrass coffee, boom, go through our website and pick it up, and you're gonna be able to get a quality roasted bean that's super consistent, and you're also gonna be able to support our mission, which is amazing.
It really is. So, one, I know we're getting close to the end. I got
so much more to talk about. Like,
we could talk forever.
Listen, I just want to tell you the stories about going to Puerto Rico and being in a coffee plantation. It's just running through my head right now. But maybe we can overflow another time or something.
There will be a pour over again.
Pour over,
you know what?
Right.
There may be. I mean, like, dude. She's.
If somebody would like to sponsor a trip for me to go to North Carolina go down to the Lock Dock Studios, I'm in. I would love it.
I mean, seriously. I mean, there's got to be some type of. We can get you down there.
Come on.
We can get you down there.
Somebody.
It's going to happen.
My Instagram link's in the show notes. Just holla at me, DM me. I'll take PayPal. We can do this.
So really quick, like I'm very grateful for you taking the time out on being away from the family and being able to come here and talk. And once again, Shiloh's very, very excited for you opening. Thank you so much for having me here, like allowing me to come record this. This is a big deal. In the description, there will be ways where you can find out about Shiloh's, about Sunnergrass, about Joe, about the church, the organization that founded this, about how you can be invested in what they're doing, where a cup of coffee is not just a caffeinated beverage, but is actually doing something. It is hope in every cup.
Yeah, man.
And so, Joe, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it, and we will do this again very soon.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully, we helped you take your coffee experience to the next level. Listen and watch with us every Monday as we explore everything coffee. You can find us on all major podcast platforms, and we would appreciate if you could subscribe and review on iTunes. Check out all of our video content on our YouTube channel, and you can connect with us by reaching out on social media and the web or YouTube. Thanks so much. We will see you again next time.